Hi everyone, my name is Cheryl and this is my Happy Handcraft Studio. Welcome. I live near Calgary in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. I love all things handcraft. I enjoy sewing, knitting, cross-stitching. I really like to make things every day. That's my goal in life, to be creating and making things every day. Keeps me happy, healthy, and it's also become a way that I've met so many friends, which is the wonderful thing about handcrafts. You can do them by yourself, and it's even better when you meet with other people. So today I'm going to be talking about cross stitch. That is the main focus of this channel. And I had a giveaway from a couple of weeks ago, so I'll be announcing the winner for that. I had a new addition to my sewing studio, and so I'm excited to show you that. And I had several sewing projects and quilt projects. And then I had wonderful feedback on book recommendations. And so I have several recommendations from some of our viewers. So I'm looking forward to sharing those with you. Okay, so for stitching, we'll start with regularly scheduled stitching. So I have my temperature journal, temperature library. This keeps track of all the high and low temperatures for this area of Alberta. And for October, I just have the last 2 days to put in, and then I'll be starting November. And I am really happy that there's just November and December left. I think anyone who is involved in long-term stitch-alongs, you look forward to the end. So this temperature library is from Kristi's Corner. She's on Etsy. And I think she does different temperature libraries for the different years. I'm not sure what year this one was, but she also has addition packs for special symbols. So if you want birthday cakes or Halloween symbols, I think she has that as well. I did this one on an unknown linen. Let's see it there. And chose my own colors. So temperature library 1, that was the pattern that I used. My next regularly scheduled one is Peppermint Purples, Black Work Sal, and I am up to date on this one. This is on a 14 count white Aida. And these are in the called for colors for the blue-green version. And we're moving right along on this one. Not too many weeks left, but I do need to really focus on getting the border done so that it'll all be complete in January. Loving that one. Another project that I'm working on monthly is the Jeanette Douglas Mini Bouquet Sal. And I finished the one for October. And this is on an even weave 28 count tea-dyed Irish linen. And I'm looking forward to the November piece. I'm also working on Garden Sampler. Garden Sampler is from Hirschner's. It's a free pattern on their site. And I'm working on this for Sampler Camp 2022, and that's at Colorado Cross Stitcher. I love where you can just do a motif each time. This is on an even weave 28 count tea-dyed linen, Irish linen. I'm also working on Squirrel. Squirrel is by Mr. X Stitch. It's in a book that I borrowed from the library. And this is from my semi-sane challenge to complete this during autumn. So I'm going to continue to work on this one. It's called Squirrel. I had library stitching this last week, which is great. It's always wonderful to get together with City Stitcher and other stitching friends at a local library. And I worked on Pumpkin Alphabet. This is from With Thy Needle and Thread. I used called for DMC, and it's on a 14 count Aida Zweigart. And when I know I'm going for library stitching, I do a half stitch. So I had my bird all half stitched in the top of the pumpkin so that I can just sit back and fill in the X's as I visit with fellow stitchers. It was wonderful. And we had hopefully an interested person walk by and come in and join us. So because we're at the library and it's a very visible room that we're in, and there's a glass wall between us and the library, we're going to have some welcome signs so that if we have anybody walk by that's interested in what we're doing and interested in stitching, they'll be welcome to come in. And hopefully we'll have some Stitch Me bags, some bags that we can give to people who are new to stitching. So a project that I've been working on a lot in October was Queen Elizabeth II in her coronation dress by Teresa Gill. This is on a 28 count vintage blue cashel with the called for DMC. And I was doing 70 stitches a day, which I thought was just a little bit of stitching. But 70 stitches when there's so many changes takes a lot of time. So I put this away for the last week of October so that I could get other stitching completed. And the next time I'll work on it will be on the 6th of November, and I'll give it a good amount of time. Two projects that I really did get a lot done. They were kind of focus pieces. Whereas Watermelon Tourmaline. So as you can see, I have just that bottom row to complete. I'm loving this. I just love the colors in it. This is Carolyn Manning design, Watermelon Tourmaline. It's on a 14 count Aida with the called for colors. And I think with Carolyn Manning, you don't want to mess with her colors. Her colors are just sensational. So that I hope to have finished by the next time I see you. And then another one that is getting so close, it's just threads away. And this is the Noble Companions It's from a Christmas Portraits Leisure Arts book from 1991. It's on an unknown oatmeal Aida, and I'm using the called for DMC. And all I have left is backstitch. I've finished, I think, about to there. So just the bottom now to complete. So I'm really hoping to get this one completed in the next few weeks. Love it. I love Father Christmas's face. It's just lovely. And then my last big project, I have it over on the side, I almost forgot about it. This is one that I have to spend a lot of time on. This is Changing Seasons. So Changing Seasons is Fox and Rabbit Mystery Sal 2022. And this is on a huge piece, a blanket size piece of 32 count Belfast natural linen. I'm using I've chosen my own colors for this. So where am I on this? I'm in August. So in August we have this section with an urn to do for August. September, I have this box to this is September that I'm finishing. October is this box. And now in November, I have winter to do. And these spring, summer, autumn, they're big sections. So I really have a lot of stitching to do on this one to get it so that I'm not feeling overwhelmed by changing seasons. And so it's great. I love it. And I want to continue to get a lot on this one. Love it. So I have lots of stitching ahead of me. So as far as whip goes, I'm only doing the parts of my blocks that said get things done, what whips to work on. I don't plan on any new whips. I do have one. It's called Labyrinth, and it's a small owl on a globe that if everything gets finished, I will start. So stay tuned for that. Lots to look forward to in stitching this month. All right, so I had a giveaway last time, and it was for Boo Hoo from Luminous Fiber Arts, and I did the YouTube random comment picker, and the winner was Betty Hankins. So Betty, I will put a message onto your comment, and I'll leave my email address in the description box that's right below. So in the description box, I have all of the projects that I'm working on, the linens, the threads I'm using, the designers. So if I forget to say all of those parts, which I often do because I show so many different projects, they're down below. And if you ever have questions, please ask in the comments. I'd love that. So November is the month that I want to firm up my plans for 2023. So I will be looking through the projects I have kitted already. I'll look through the patterns that I've purchased but have not yet kitted up. I've started to go through my big supply of DMC threads that I have ready to go. So that if I start to kit up projects, all of those things are in order. So I'm working on that. And so my question for you this time is, do you plan for the next year's stitching? Do you look ahead to 2023, and are you making your plans for a new year of stitching? Or do you stitch as the whim hits you? Like, do you kind of do one project at a time and work on it? I like to have a plan for a new year. I like to plan my whip go. I like to have a good idea of where I want my stitching to go for the new year. But I'm really interested to hear what you do as well. All right, sewing studio. The big news in the sewing studio was that I finally got around to buying my April birthday present, which was this Memory Craft 6700P from Janome. So why this machine? 30 years ago, I bought in Canada, it was called a Kenmore. I don't know if they have Kenmore in the US or other countries. But Kenmore was the Sears brand of sewing machine. And Kenmore was a Janome sewing machine. And I used that machine, like I said, for 30 years. And I only stopped using it when the motherboard went. So it was one of those first computerized sewing machines, and eventually it could no longer be replaced. What I loved about the sewing machine was it was a heavy metal machine. It could go through anything. I had purchased a Light Brother machine, quilting machine, to take to quilt retreats and quilt workshops. And when COVID hit, I ended up using that machine every day for 2 or 3 years, and I basically wore it out. It was struggling. I am still going to keep it to take to quilt workshops, I think, although once you have a new machine, you do kind of fall in love with how it sews. And so I've only had my Janome for a few days, but some things I've done. I've already sewn a bag on it, and that was the real test, if I was going to keep this machine or not, was could I do bag sewing on it? And unfortunately, I can't show you the bag because it's going to be a new pattern release, but I could sew through multiple layers of fabric interfacing fleece and vinyl. So no skip stitches. It just was a trooper. It was wonderful. So that was great. I then also went through this pile of 5-inch squares, 160 cream and 160 red, using the fastest speed and high performance foot and plate, and it was wonderful. So what does this machine have that I didn't think I ever needed? A knee lift. That hadn't been on my radar of what I needed, but it has a knee lift, so instead of having to lift the presser foot to pivot, I just use the knee lift, and that's been wonderful. I've really just done straight stitch sewing with it so far, so I'll keep you updated, but so far I'm really enjoying my new purchase. So some things that I finished before the new machine. I finished my Dresden Reimagined project. So last spring, I can't remember, winter, I took a class from Candace Grisham virtually. She is a Missouri quilt instructor, using her book Dresden Reimagined. And so you make these Dresden plates, and the book shows a variety of ways that you can put them together, but I decided to use her idea for a still life, and so I completed this wall hanging. And it's wild. I know. I did it as a sample using some fabrics that I had around the studio, and put them together in this combination, and I'm happy. I'm happy with the result. Now, this was done on my struggling sewing machine, and I think that was the main reason why I purchased a new sewing machine. My old brother was really wheezing as I was completing that one, but it's a sample. It was just to practice the technique, so I'm happy with that. And another project that I completed on my old sewing machine was this quilt. And this quilt was another Zoom workshop that I did from Susan Madu of Modern Blended Quilts. And it was this bright stripes pattern. And Susan Madu is all about precision piecing. And so we used specialty rulers. Do I have it here, which rulers we used? The Square 2 tool was the ruler that we used, and that's from Studio 180. And it's awesome. It really does make for beautiful piecing. And then a purchase I made, this is going to be the backing for this quilt. It's going to be a baby quilt that I will donate to one of our charities for babies. All right, so that was my sewing quilting week. A lot more to come, I'm sure, because when you have a beautiful machine like this, you just want to keep using it. So lots to show there. So books, where are my notes on the books? I had really wonderful feedback on the books that I asked you to tell me about books that you think would be good recommendations for people who need a book. It was based on the reading list that I had read and talked about the last episode. And people need books at certain times in their life. And so I asked you for your recommendations. And one of the books that was recommended I had read and totally agree with, and that was Lorraine's suggestion, A Man Called Uwe. And I love this book. It's about a grumpy old guy who's facing a life struggle. And luckily, a new family moves into the area. And with this family comes some major changes. It was great. Now, there was a movie called A Man Called Uwe. Now, that based on the book by Frederick Bachman, and it came out in 2015, and I thought it was great. It was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, maybe in the foreign film area. I can't remember if it was in English or not. When you're watching a good movie and if it's captioned or whatever, you just remember the movie. Well, it's obviously a great book, and it was a good movie because Tom Hanks is also going to make this movie, and it's going to come out really soon, and it's called A Man Called Otto. And the caption is The Grumpiest Man in America. So, I like Tom Hanks. I love the book. I'll be watching it. Again, this is a book about when you're in your darkest hour, how your life can turn around. Now, JJ suggested a book, and I think Uwe should get together with Missy Carmichael, because JJ suggested the book, The Love Story of Missy Carmichael. And, you know, Missy is having a rough go of things. She's 79. She's estranged from her daughter, and her only son and grandson live in Australia. And, you know, life isn't that great anymore. So she meets a young family and things take a turn. Do you see the similarity here? I think Missy Carmichael and Uwe should get together. She also suggested Delphine Jones Takes a Chance, and this is by the same author. I can't remember the author, but it'll be here in the pictures. Beth somebody, starts with an M. So, JJ, I already have the love story of Missy Carmichael upstairs, ready to be read, so I'm really excited to start that one. Another one that JJ suggested was Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. And this is one that I read and really enjoyed. And Eleanor Oliphant isn't really fine. But she is struggling to make a happy life. And some of us, you know, really deal with social situations. And this is a case of a young woman not really fitting in. But a lot of us don't fit into some social situations. But if you read this, you'll find out how Eleanor makes some changes. Then Suzanne suggested Blackberry and Wild Rose by Sonia Velton. And I'm really interested in this one because I love books about handcrafts. And so this one is a historical fiction, and it's based on the Huguenot silk weavers in East London. And I did a little bit of reading about it, and it had some really good reviews for having an accurate description of what life was like for the silk weavers. And what I also like about this is it really talks about the struggles that women had in the society of the time and how they, the characters, how they overcome some of those struggles. So I'm looking forward to getting that one from the library and reading that one. And then finally, Rosalia had the suggestion of the Bible. Whenever people struggle, the Bible can be a good place to go. And I would say that's true of any religion's holy books. Those books are made for the worst of times, to give us our strength to continue on. And the similarity with all of our holy books is they all have their own golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And so I'll leave you with that today, to go out and do something for someone that you wish someone would do to you. Be kind, be friendly, be welcoming, be understanding, all of those characteristics that you value in your own life. Please like and subscribe. I would love to hear from you in comments. And so with that, go out, enjoy your day. Bye-bye for now.